Denise Hurley. I want to welcome everybody to Harmonies. This is a show that showcases musicians in the region, and we like to showcase their music and then have a conversation with them about who they are, what they do as artists, and so that's what Harmonies is. And I'd like to welcome Madi.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Madi Williams. And Madi, you're from Boston?
I am, yeah. I'm currently living in Boston. I was born in Newton, but I'm studying at Northeastern University, so I'm currently living in Boston.
Nice. And Northeastern, what do you study at Northeastern?
I am a theater major, and I have minors in communications, women and gender and sexuality studies, and musical theater. So I have a lot going on.
Yes, you do. Oh, my goodness. That's wonderful. Okay. You're also a singer-songwriter.
I am. Yes.
And the lead vocalist for Cherry Brat?
Yes, that is correct.
So can you give me a little background on first your singer-songwriter start?
Yeah, so I started as a singer-songwriter when I was like 16. I've been writing music for a while, but never really had the guts to kind of go out and perform on my own. And my ex-partner used to like go out and perform and do shows by themselves all the time. And at one of the shows that they played, there was this singer-songwriter by the name of Matt Minigel.
Okay.
And I saw him perform, and I was like, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was absolutely incredible and was the, like, inspiration and the catalyst for me to, like, get myself together, write more music, and, like, actually start performing live. So I saw him in the summer of 2015, and by the following November, like this November of that same year, I had released an EP, was playing my first live show, and like was starting as a singer-songwriter that was performing live music. And at first, like most 16-year-olds, like my music was not very good. It's still on the internet if you want to find it. But I think that like I was given such a supportive environment to kind of grow up in and to be a musician and like who's just starting out. I played a lot at Rock Off Main Street, which is based in, it used to be Natick and now is in Framingham. And it's a show, it's like a concert series for young artists.
Okay.
And it's like the main goal is for young people, like youth under 25. And so I started there, and then through there, at the very first show I played as well, I met this little band called the Knuckleheads, and their dad, Robert McCarthy, is in charge of 5x2 Records now, and he's a promoter, so he like books shows, and so he got me a lot of connections. What used to be the Knuckleheads is now a very popular post-hardcore band called Circus Trees.
Okay.
And so they're doing very successful. There was the three sisters from the Knuckleheads like kind of made their own band, but so I got connections was just by meeting Robert, and so now he's like a really good family friend. Nice. and that's kind of how I got my start as a songwriter. And then from Robert, I met Justin Arena, who runs Together Records, which is a collective. It's like a DIY collective. Sure. And they have a space called the Chess Company, and it's this like little DIY art studio, and there's tons of opportunities for musicians and shows, and it's a really supportive environment. So as like a solo singer-songwriter, a lot of my experience has been very DIY and very kind of finding and creating a community of people around me.
Okay.
And trying to like kind of cultivate a family that way, and I think it's been very successful thus far.
Nice. And this is all in Boston? Is this all located in the Boston area?
Yeah, it kind of spans a little bit. So I kind of started out like Boston and like Metro West, and then 5x2 Records for a while was based up in like the Lowell area. Okay. Robert is from Marlborough, so it was like Worcester and Lowell, and then unfortunately we lost Uncharted, which is a venue in Lowell that was like, it was an art gallery, and it was the best venue. Like I got to play there several times. It was beautiful, and it closed because it did not have enough support, which is really sad.
It is.
It's just like such a gut-wrenching loss. But so I was doing stuff in the north, and then Together Records is based in the South Shore, in Rockland. So I'm kind of all up and down the everywhere a little bit.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you've been doing from your beginnings as a singer-songwriter, and you've made all these connections throughout the region, not just the Boston scene.
Yes. These two songs are called Face in the Crowd and Really Into You, and they are both available on our demo, which is available on all streaming platforms. Honestly, it's good to leave you out alone, no one to see through. Done with all the harsh persistence and my adamant resistance. Trying not to see you out here. All your favorite bars I steer clear. Maybe we're not completely through. I see you around, a face in the crowd. I'm done with you now, but it's getting too loud. I'm trying to move on, and I know that you're gone. Your face in the crowd makes me feel like you're never gone. Dealing with you will be way too hard. Moving on. Nothing like a little sunshine, just enough to keep my eyes wide open. Or maybe I'm mistaken with the pain I went through. Can't you tell I've been affected? Dodging you like you're infected. Can you understand my point of view? I see you around, a face in the crowd. I'm done with you now, but it's getting too loud. I'm trying to move on, and I know that you're gone. Your face in the crowd makes me feel like you're never gone. Dealing with you will be way too hard. Moving on. Your face in the crowd makes me feel like you're never gone. Dealing with you will be way too hard. Moving on. Dealing with you will be way too hard. Moving on. Here's the thing I really shouldn't do, but hey, I'm really into you. Here's the thing I really shouldn't do, but hey, I'm really into you. Everything is telling me I shouldn't, but I'm really into you. My heart is racing every time that she's around. I know we're risking everything we've said and done. Here's the thing I really shouldn't do, but hey, I'm really into you. The back of my car, different kind of duet. Refinement stilettos and a cherry corset. I'm risking it all, but I don't want to grow up. Living the dream and I don't want to wake up. Back of my car, different kind of duet. Refinement stilettos and a cherry corset. I'm risking it all, but I don't want to grow up. Living the dream and I don't want to wake up. Here's the thing I really shouldn't do, but hey, I'm really into you. Here's the thing I really shouldn't do, but hey, I'm really into you. Everything is telling me I shouldn't, but I'm really into you. My heart is racing every time that she's around. I know we're risking everything we've said and done. Here's the thing I really shouldn't do, but hey, I'm really into you. The back of my car, different kind of duet. Refinement stilettos and a cherry corset. I'm risking it all, but I don't want to grow up. living the dream and I don't wanna wake up. Back of my car, different kind of duet. 5 stilettos and a cherry corset. Risking it all, but I don't wanna grow up. Living the dream and I don't wanna wake up. Here's the thing I really shouldn't do, but hey, I'm really into you.
With your songwriting, what's your influences? What kind of music do you write? Who do you listen to? And
yeah, I have a lot of very strange influences. I write a lot of music that sounds nothing like Cherry Brat. Okay. And I kind of label myself as an acoustic folk pop singer-songwriter with a little bit of country. And my main influences are probably Brandi Carlile and Julian Baker, and also this drag queen by the name of Trixie Mattel. Yeah. Okay. Trixie Mattel is a country singing drag queen, and she has just the most gorgeous, like, folk country music. And it, like, talks about, like, LGBTQ things, and, like, as a bisexual woman, like, having, like, queer country is a really cool thing. and so I really like writing queer folk, queer country, and like Julian Baker and Brandi Carlile as well, queer women. And so a lot of my inspirations come from them. My inspirations also come from places like Green Day.
Really?
Yeah. I grew up loving Green Day. Like, favorite band of all time. My favorite song of all time is Jesus of Suburbia from their American Idiot album. They are just, like, to me, like, God tier. There is nothing better. And so I take a lot of influence in how I tell stories from Green Day, specifically their American Idiot album. The way that they just have this, like, very cohesive, theatrical, and thematic, like, story, for me, really resonated with me. And, like, as a 12-year-old who was just slowly learning how to question authority as I was growing up, American Idiot was, like, my anthem. And it still is. That album is still, like, always on repeat in my car. And also growing up as a theater person, American Idiot was, the album was turned into a Broadway musical.
Sure, right.
And so that for me was like, oh my God, these things can coexist. And like, cause punk and theater, a lot of people don't necessarily put those two things together. So I think for me, Green Day was like a huge influence, in like how I tell stories and how I want to perform. But for songwriting, I would say, yeah, Julian Baker, Brandi Carlile, and Trixie Mattel.
And Green Day is something that I listened to in my younger days as well. So that's really interesting. Wow. Okay. Okay. Now I want to talk about your band.
Yes.
Okay, which I find fascinating. It's called Cherry Brat, Riot Girl Punk Band.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you explain what that is?
Yes. So Riot Girl is a subgenre of punk. And it became really popular in like the 70s and 80s and into the 90s. And it was kind of just this like subculture of a subculture. Punk was meant to be subversive, and it was meant to question the status quo and to say, you know, like, the norm is not okay and I'm mad about it. But unfortunately, sometimes when you have a male-dominated field, specifically a white male-dominated field, a lot of the things that it claims it's fighting against, it's actually perpetuating, sexism being one of them, and misogyny and homophobia and things like that. And so Riot Girl is one of the many subgenres that was born to be like, hey, mainstream punk, what the heck? Like, what are you doing? You're doing the same thing that you say you're not doing. And you're perpetuating the culture that you claim you're fighting against. And so Riot Girl was started by women as well as non-binary and trans people to kind of call out misogyny and sexism in punk as well as in society in general. And it was pretty popular for a while, and then it kind of petered out, and now there's like a slow like resurgence. Like Bikini Kill is going on tour, and Bikini Kill is like one of the founding Riot Girl bands. Like they're like Bikini Kill, Bratmobile, they're like the biggest Riot Girl bands. So there's slowly becoming a resurgence of Riot Girl, and for us, something that we want to do is kind of make Riot Girl modern while still sticking to its roots in feminist-driven political punk.
Right.
Or I guess politically driven feminist punk would be the correct way to say it. And yeah, we really want to like kind of call out the system and be like, hey, this is bad. Like, we should fix that.
Okay. Okay, so we kind of corresponded a little bit back and forth before we came on to speak today. And you wanted to talk about also within the music industry, and I don't know if it's just your circle or if it, in general, what happens to women in the music industry with, sexual assault or sexual advances or whatever as a performer. So I know that you wanted to kind of address that, and you addressed that with your music.
Yes.
Okay.
So one of Cherry Brat's very first shows, I think it was our second show ever. We had the privilege of playing at Sonia, which is a venue in Cambridge. There's a lot of controversy in the Middle East that I will not get into right now. But we were playing at Sonia, and we were the opening band. We were really, really excited. It was a huge venue for us. And shortly after our set, I was approached by a drunk guy, and he touched me inappropriately, and would not leave me alone, to the point that my drummer, our old drummer, had to pretend to be my boyfriend, which is very awkward, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Right.
And we were really angry about the fact that, like, this person just came up to me and thought that he had the right to my body and thought that he had the right to touch me and be inappropriate with me just because I was on stage. And just because I was dressed in a way that he found provocative. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to write a song about it. It's called Creatures of the Night. And it's available on our demo, which is on all streaming platforms and all of that. Not necessarily the most appropriate song for me to perform today. Right. But it's a song that draws parallels between old school horror movie monsters and sexual predators, and people who sexually assault women, and all people. I mean, anyone can be a victim of sexual assault. And I think that sometimes it can be really scary as a woman because you have that fear of not wanting to come across like a diva by saying, hey, you can't touch me. But I think that it's really important to draw boundaries and to protect yourself. And then actually Creatures of the Night was serving for a really long time as a deterrent. Like, people were actively, like, avoiding accidentally touching me. Like, they'd walk by me like this, which is very funny. And people were really trying to be respectful and make sure they had my consent before they touched me. And then this past August, we had a show in New Hampshire, and a person, like, we play Creatures of the Night in every show. Like, it is our second to last song without fail. Because we try to, like, get the message out as I'm about to leave the stage, like, hey, you can't come touch me. My body is my body, not yours.
Do you think that this is in something that is pervasive in the music scene as a whole?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I think that, I think in society in general, there's kind of a sentiment that people have the right to other people's bodies, or that, or in, I guess, more general or more specific terms, that a lot of men have the right to a lot of women's bodies. And I know that's a little bit of binary language, but I think that, like, in terms of talking about the patriarchy, it's appropriate. Like, I think that everywhere you go as a woman, you're subjected to the male gaze. And I think that, like, whether it's catcalling, whether it's just being looked at inappropriately, whether it's being touched inappropriately, I think that it's something that follows me as a woman everywhere. But I also think that within the music scene, because I'm a performer, I think that people think that they might have more of a right to my body than not. And that's not to say that I, as an audience member, have not been sexually assaulted at shows, because I have. And part of the reason that I wanted to talk about sexual assault in the context of music and the music industry and the music scene is because it's not just me that this is happening to. And there are so many female performers and women performers, and not trans, non-binary, and men performers who are, like, being sexually assaulted at shows, as well as audience members. And I've been given such a great platform to be able to talk about it, because, you know, after our show in New Hampshire, we made a whole statement about, like, hey, you can't touch people. This is unacceptable. And, like, my drummer, my current drummer, Nolan had been kicked out of the bar for standing up for me to the guy that grabbed me. And we were like, we are not going to be complicit in this kind of systematic oppression anymore. And so that statement gave Cherry Brat a little bit of a platform and a leg to stand on to actually have people listen to us. And I think that for me, like, it's really important to use that platform for good and to not only talk about it, but to also act on it. Mm-hmm. So, like, at the end of December, on December 22nd, we're doing a show with The Fairview, which is my drummer Nolan's other band, as well as Bullpup, which is my bassist Tim's other band. And the three bands are co-headlining a show, and we're doing a fundraiser for the Joyful Heart Foundation, mm-hmm. which was started by Mariska Hargitay, who plays Olivia Benson on Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Okay. And she started this foundation to help survivors of sexual assault, mm-hmm. and to help provide resources as well as to end the rape kit backlog. And so it's a really incredible organization. So we're doing a big benefit fundraiser for them on December 22nd. And being able to come on shows like this and to be able to talk about it, I think is so important to being able to change the culture. And even if it's just in our little Massachusetts scene, hopefully that can create a ripple effect and go beyond. Because I think that as a society as a whole, I mean, we're getting better. Like, it's, you know, mentality is changing. We are giving people more rights to their bodies and rights to not be touched. But I think that we still have a long way to go. And I think that talking about it and making it known that, like, this kind of behavior is not okay, and having music about it and being outspoken and making statements and talking about it all the time is really the only way that people are going to listen. Mm-hmm. And so that for me is a really important part of what Cherry Brat does, and a really important part of just who I am as a person as well.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's very exciting about the show coming up in December. I think that's fabulous. Where is the venue?
It's at O'Brien's. It's in Allston. O'Brien's Pub, and tickets are actually on sale now.
Cool. Yeah. Right. So you feel like this is growing, this voice within your community about this issue, mm-hmm. and that more musicians around you are trying to get the word out and maybe writing music or addressing it within your scene. I think that's fabulous. I think that's wonderful. It's unfortunate you have to actually go through something like that, but for you to stand up to that and voice it, that it's not right, and here's what we're going to do as a group of musicians to help what's going on by doing a fundraiser and getting involved. And I commend you for doing that.
Thank you.
That's fabulous. So do you have anything else that you want to add to your story about this?
I think it's important to mention that this, like, or I guess to reiterate that this does not only happen to me. Mm-hmm. And I think that I've and Cherry Brat has become a little bit of the poster child for, like, speaking out against sexual assault in the music scene. And, I mean, it's happened to my male bandmates. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not just me and Cherry Brat that's getting sexually assaulted. It's not just members of Cherry Brat, it's everyone. Right. And it happens all the time. And I think that it's really, really important to remember that it's not just performers, it's also audience members. It's people of any gender identity and or gender assigned at birth or anything like that. Like, it can happen to anyone. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really important that we talk about it. Yes. And yeah, I think that's, like, the main thing that I want everyone to know is, like, just because you're seeing me talk about it doesn't mean it's only happening to me, and it doesn't mean it's only happening to people that look like me. It happens to literally everyone.
Right. Okay.
This song is called Everything Will Be All Right, and you can catch us playing this at any of our live shows. Even though I said I'd give you space, it's been a struggle seeing you this way. Done with letting your whole life pass you by. I just wanna be right here by your side if you need me. 4:30 is way too late to start burning bridges, your loved ones in the dark. I remember the person you were once. You can't finish a race you never run. It won't fade. Take your time. There's the light. I
just want to say it's hard to see the world around you crashing down, and don't mind me. God forbid it turns out right, so please, baby, close your eyes, take off some time and get some sleep for me. The first step is the hardest one to take. Settle down, admit all your mistakes. Can you feel the axis turning round? It is making a beeline straight your way. Turning tides, the past is gone. Can't you see? You are loved, you're so sweet. Here we come, are you ready? It's hard to see the world around you crashing down, and don't mind me. God forbid it turns out right, so please, baby, close your eyes, take off some time and get some sleep for me. I just want to say it's hard to see the world around you crashing down, and don't mind me. God forbid it turns out right, so please, baby, close your eyes, take off some time and get some sleep for me. Everything will be alright in time. 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 Everything will be alright.
So what's coming up? What, besides that wonderful fundraiser that you guys will be doing, what else will you be doing in the future, and how will people be able to find you?
Yeah, we have a lot of things coming up, actually. So we have a few shows left for 2019. Our big one is the one on December 22nd. We also are currently in the process of writing some new music. We're trying to really lean more into the political stuff as we move forward as a band, because there's so much to be mad about and there's so much to say. And so I think that that's a big thing for us. And so you can find us on social media literally everywhere. Cherry Brat MA is our handle on everything. And you can also find all of our music on Bandcamp, which is a free download. And that is also Cherry Brat MA. And that's probably, social media is the best way to find us. Right. I run all of the social media for the most part. Me and our guitarist Alex kind of split the difference, and we are always active. If you send us a message, like, you will most likely get a reply. If not that day, definitely that week. We really do our best to respond to everyone and like have that kind of connection, because like we're just people and like we really like having friends.
I have another question before we finish up here. What is your audience? Who is in that scene? What is it? Young people who are more attracted to your type of music because they want to hear about social issues and be able to express themselves in a mosh pit or in a club or whatever. I mean, who comes to see you? What type of people?
Honestly, like, if you had asked me this like 6 months ago, I would probably say like young people around my age. But that's honestly been proven completely wrong for me. A lot of people of all ages have come to our shows. Some of our shows do have an age restriction, which sucks. Unfortunately, our show at O'Brien's is 18 plus, just because of the venue. But like, we have fans. We had played a show, we were talking before about, I did a show, a Porch Fest.
Right.
And, like, we had these 2 girls that were, like, 9 come up and, like, they bought shirts and took a picture with me, and they were so cute. And then, like, we also have had friends who, like, and, like, older folks who, there was a guy in Brewster, Massachusetts, and he said that he saw Green Day perform in Brewster, like, before they were anybody. And And he said that we were the first time he had seen something that was like that
Like Green
since.
Day.
Which, like,
Yeah.
the highest compliment,
Sure.
as we've established. But I think that there's something, because punk is not a new thing. This is not a new genre that is, like, just coming into fruition. This has been around for a while, and I think for a lot of people, like, punk reminds them of their youth, regardless of how old they are. And I think that it can really be applicable to all ages. I think that Cherry Brat is a little bit profane. So when we're playing in a context that maybe it has not been asked of us to not be profane, then maybe our younger friends may not have such a great time. Sure. My 10-year-old cousin is begging me to do another show where we don't swear because she wants to come. And she really likes our music and the videos that she's seen. But I think that Cherry Brat, like, you know, punk attracts young people, but it doesn't only attract young people. And we truly have people of all ages that support us and come and see our shows. And we are so grateful because having a diverse audience is really important. And I think that if you're talking to a bunch of people that are like you, then your message, it's getting somewhere, but it's not getting as far out as it could. But I think having a diverse audience in age and in background and in all of that and in identity is really important. And, like, I was looking at our Spotify statistics recently, and, like, we have a pretty even split between Spotify's, like, categories of male, female, and then we actually have a really relatively high percentage of people who identify as non-binary or who have chosen not to identify their gender as well, like, just in our analytics, which is really exciting to see that, like, we have a broad audience and that we're reaching people of so many different demographics from all over the world, which is really cool.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming out today. It was a pleasure meeting you and speaking with you and hearing your music. And I wish you all the luck in the world. And thank you for what you're doing. It's important. And again, Madi Williams, and Cherry Brat is the name of her band. And I want to thank you again.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Good. And I'm Denise Hurley, host of Harmonies, and thanks for joining in, and I'll see you next time.
Honestly, it's good to leave you out alone, no one to see through. Done with all the harsh persistence and my adamant resistance. Trying not to see you out here. All your favorite bars I steer clear. Maybe we're not completely through.